Thank you, Senator Kim.
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Mr. Levin, I'd like to just start with you. I had gone through the Chainalysis 2025 Crypto Crime Report. First of all, thank you for that type of detail. But I wanted to ask you if you could elaborate on the role of mixers, other types of smart contracts, other types of anonymization tools in terms of facilitating illicit finance, illicit trading.
Thank you, Senator, and appreciate you taking the time to read the report. We at Chainalysis track the different types of anonymizing techniques used by illicit actors to thwart law enforcement actually being able to get after them. And actually, we have seen that mixers are used by illicit actors to cover their tracks in terms of laundering proceeds of crime. But there is also another side of this, which is it's possible to continue to trace through certain types of mixers in certain instances, and we've seen law enforcement be successful in those regards. I would say that it is important, as the committee thinks about regulating this space, to look at what are the residual risks that are there, given all of the tools in the disposal of law enforcement and all of the authorities that intelligence and law enforcement has in this domain.
I just want to make sure that I'm building this out right. So, for instance, you talked about in your hearing, in your testimony, that public ledgers underpin most digital asset activity, allows for visibility, certain amount of transparency. But, am I right that these anonymization tools are ones that obfuscate, that make it more difficult to be able to track?
Yes, Senator, it is correct that the majority of activity on these ledgers is transparent, and you can see which entities are involved. And Chainalysis provides the unique intelligence about whether it is a mixer that is transacting or whether that is a centralized exchange. And so it is possible to identify that activity. It is also possible in certain instances to actually be able to trace through those mixers and continue the hunt for a law enforcement agent.
I understand that in terms of the analysis to be able to track, but it does do a lot of that after the fact, after the transactions have already occurred, which makes it very difficult to be able to try to actually intervene, to be able to prevent these transactions from occurring. But I don't discount the fact that it's certainly helpful, especially when it comes to writing SAR reports or other things afterwards. Who are some of the actors that we're talking about here? I mean, we're talking about countries like North Korea and Iran, is that right?
Yes, Senator, really any illicit actor that is using cryptocurrency can use any type of service, and we've seen DPRK and we've seen Iran use mixers.
We also see different terrorist groups, is that correct?
In general, we have seen that terrorist organizations actually use very convenient technologies to be able to fundraise or pay people, and so we have seen less use of mixers in the context of terrorist financing actually than you would expect.
So terrorist groups still utilizing crypto in different ways, as well as cartels and other organizations like that. Is that right?
Senator, the illicit actors globally use the same technologies, the same services that all of us who use cryptocurrencies use, which is any type of instrument in cryptocurrencies.
Mr. Garlinghouse, I'd like to just kind of turn to you. I mean, I just wanted to just get your thoughts on this. I mean, do you acknowledge what Mr. Levin's saying in terms of the illicit actors, the bad actors being able to utilize crypto right now? And, I certainly appreciate the efforts that your company has made in terms of AML, but, we're still seeing these problems. Is that something that you see and recognize as well?
Ripple has always been a compliance-first company, and as I said in my early testimony, we have over 60 licenses around the world. That being said, I think anytime you see bad actors, they're looking for, as Mr. Levin said, whatever the easiest path is. They use cash, they use other assets. I've even read about them using gold. So certainly they're also experimenting and trying to use digital assets. I think the good news has been, in many cases, they don't often understand how traceable and trackable that actually is, and it's more trackable than obviously cash.
Yeah, but we're still seeing the anonymization tools being utilized, and again, a lot of that is after the fact. The difficulty, I mean, we saw North Korea right in front of the world be able to hack and take billions of dollars. We can see them moving around, but we had difficulty to be able to actually intervene. I don't discount the fact that we're never going to be able to stop it all. We can't stop it with cash. I think the problem that I see is that I used to work on counter-terrorist financing, and the sheer scale of this is enormous. It's an industrialization of North Korea's ability. They don't need to counterfeit anymore. They're finding ways to be able to do this. So I just hope that we can work together with industry, because I believe that industry doesn't want to have crypto be able to utilized in this way. I worry about the trajectory, what it might do to evade sanctions and other types of efforts. And this is something that I hope that we can address, especially when we're talking about over $50 billion just last year being used for illicit actors in this space. So I hope that this is something we can build off from. We had some efforts in this in a bipartisan way in the Genius Act, and I hope that we can make this a priority to make sure that we're trying to stop the terrorist groups, the cartels that we have talked about standing up against in so many different ways. And with that, I'll yield back.